Good evening and welcome to Angel's Haven. This is part one of my kitchen renovation video. When I decided to go tiny, I saw a model that was built by the man who ultimately built my house. He was making small sort of come-alongs to be pulled behind pickup trucks for when you went camping or hunting. He essentially said he would build me a 24-foot version of what he was already building in 15 or 20 feet. In that model, the kitchen was an L formed by a counter and then the RV stove. So that's what my kitchen has been. I like having the kitchen in an L configuration like this as part of the house. It fits very nicely. It doesn't take up a lot of the floor space, but it gives me enough room. However, I've never liked the RV stove, and I've never liked the fact that the biggest cupboard, actually at the time, the only cupboard in the house, was half blocked by the RV stove. What I've kept in that cupboard has mainly been kitchen things that I did not declutter far enough down. A lot of things I don't use, pie plates, pie crust covers, muffin tins, a copper pan whose lid I apparently downsized, and so I can't really use it. Storage containers, things like that, that accumulate that I don't really need. So tonight, to start the process and get ready for the demo, which is happening in a week or two, I've taken everything out of that cupboard and everything out of the drawer, or the sliding shelf, I guess you would call it, that I had put in under the RV stove for extra storage. And I'm going to show you that, and I'm ultimately going to go through that this evening, and I'll show you how much of that I'm able to get rid of. So without further ado, I'm going to turn you around and show you what I've got. So all of this piled here and on the stove and down here and here at the bench, of course, that's what I was sitting on. The coffee should be in the freezer, but my freezer's too small. But all of this stuff was either in this back cupboard, which is actually quite large, or on this shelf. I had this shelf added. I call it a drawer because it pulls out. Let me see if I can show you that. Yep. See, it slides. It's on runners. And this cupboard, which I always call the world's stupidest cabinet, is really quite large. So ultimately, what will happen is there'll be a 2 or 3 burner propane cooktop inset in the counter. And then we will put shelves under here. This has been the door. It's sort of a sliding door, which I've taken off now just to get back there. And there'll be shelves. I still have to get rid of most of this stuff. It was all just crammed back there. And believe me, I had a whole kitchen in Kansas City. But most of this stuff I don't need. Coffee I need. I'll see if I can get it in the freezer. And I'll be getting rid of this stuff, most of it, and making room for what I only need and use, and not things that I'm holding on to in case I might need them in the future. So this is part one, and I'm going to carry on with the decluttering and try to pare it down as far as possible. So there will be a part 2, and possibly a 3 and 4 will be the final kitchen renovation. Just to give you a little overview, where the spices are now, there will be a shelf there, and I've been gifted a multi-cooker. I've been cooking with a toaster oven, and the new multi-cooker that I've been gifted will go on that shelf, and along with my coffee, which currently is on top of the toaster, my coffee warmer, and my coffee grinder, I suppose. And then the space where the RV stove is will be empty. It'll be floor space reclaimed, which will make the kitchen a lot more comfortable. So I'm going to keep working, and I will show you more later. So I'm just jumping back on to show you that I have filled a jumbo Target bag with things that I do not need and will not use. I managed to get the coffee in the freezer, which was really good. And these are the things I have left. Let me see. Some of which could probably be further downsized. My Dutch oven, my toaster, behind that is my rice cooker. I do have the pie tins here still. That's a big spaghetti pot. And under here, I have the mixing bowls that I use all the time. The 2 pots that I use all the time, my soup mug, my measuring cups, and my mixer. I use all these things. In there, that baking stuff, I probably will downsize further, but this is how far I've gotten. My cast iron pans are still in here. I use those all the time. And that is a dish, not a dish, a pan with a cutting board in it. I'm not sure if that pan will fit the new multi-cooker. It's a really nice roasting pan, so I'm going to save it and see if it fits. The cutting board my dad made from a tree that fell down in our yard. I use it a lot. So I think I did a pretty good job so far. And sorry about that. And this stuff would definitely fit in here along with that stuff when the shelves are built. So if that's all I keep, that'll be fine. So, hello. We will put you up here. Getting tired. I don't know if you can tell. So, the plan will be to demo. So we're ordering the cooktop this week, and we're also going to put in. There's no room for a hood. There is not enough room for a hood, but we're going to put in I think he calls it a through the wall vent. It has variable speed, so it basically just sucks the air and, of course, the odors out. And then we also have to get a box of the tile that I had put on my floor. So we'll get those things along with a few other whatever else he needs this week. And then I'm going to be out of town next weekend. I think he's going to do at least the demo while I'm gone. Maybe the whole project. Who knows? So anyway, I'll pick up when more work is done. I'll probably do one more little clip of the kitchen before demo, just so that you can see a true before and after picture. So I'll catch you in, I don't know, part 3, whatever it will be. Thanks. See ya. Good morning. It is Monday, May 2nd, and today is the day that demo begins on my house. So here's a few seconds of what it looks like, ready for demo. A little note to Gary, the person who's doing the work, taped to my stove. And when I get home tonight, I'll record a few more seconds to show you progress on the first day. Good morning. Here's a little clip to show what the kitchen looks like now. Not tidied up particularly, just the way it looks. So, as you'll see in the after video, which will hopefully come after the demo video, or segment, I should say, the RV stove takes up about 2 cubic feet. That's not really correct because it is counter height, 2 feet wide and 2 feet deep, but more than 2 feet tall. So I didn't really take physics or geometry, but I think that's more than 2 cubic feet. So it will be gone, and the new stovetop will be just to the right of the drawers, and it is 15 inches wide and 20 inches deep if I go with the 2-burner, which I probably will. The propane tie-in is in that cupboard right there, the first one with the blue knob on the right, which is where the on-demand hot water heater is. The new multi-cooker that I'm getting is about the same depth and width of that toaster oven, maybe a little smaller. And the shelf will be about even with the top of that Thunderbird platter. So essentially under the hanging cupboard. I'm also getting a wall-mounted drop-down dish rack so that when I'm not using the dish rack, I have that counter space. The shelf that you see will go away somehow. I'm not quite positive. The cupboard has foodstuffs in it, but not very well kept. So I think there's room in there for the jars that are on the top shelf there. The 3 jars, which are dried fruits and quinoa and pasta, which I use quite a bit. I think they'll be able to go in that cupboard if I straighten it out. And then I can get rid of that shelf. The coffee canister has coffee beans in it. It and the grinder, which you see to the right of the black 2-tier basket, will be on that shelf next to the coffee pot burner. So that's what it looks like now. And your next segment hopefully will be demo and then the finished kitchen. So this is evening day 2, and as you can see, I have no RV stove, and the advantage in square footage to the house is considerable. The stove was 28 inches wide and 32, I think, inches deep, and it is gone. So there's a glimpse of the new cooktop, which you'll see in better display when the finished product is displayed. Stuff everywhere. A neighbor of mine brought me dinner last night, thankfully, but that new propane cooktop works. So I'll be able to make coffee in the morning by boiling water, and I'll be able to make dinner tonight if I choose, which I probably will. So there's going to be more work Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. The matching flooring is ordered but not in, so that will be done when that gets in. But I will update you the next time there's a big increment of work. But I'm pretty pleased. This was, in my opinion, worth it. So that cabinet there will have shelves in it. That's been the world's stupidest cabinet. A lot of this stuff, some of this stuff was in that cabinet. There will be a shelf on the wall, and I'm getting a smaller convection oven. That toaster oven will go away. It served its purpose, and I have a smaller convection oven which has been gifted me, and I will pick that up Thursday. And it will be on a shelf above the wall. That shelf and the shelves in the cabinet and the floor will be the last increments of work. The electricity is reachable through that cabinet, so nothing can be done with it until the project is, whatever wiring has to be done has been completed. So that's where we stand on Tuesday, May 3rd, and there will be an update later. Good evening and welcome to Angel's Haven. I have a few more things to pick up to have everything in order for this phase of the operation. I'll give you a little teaser over there. We're not done, but there's a little teaser. I'm working on putting things away temporarily until the cabinet's done. I have a few more little bric-a-brac to put away. That shelf up there needs to be cleaned. And the cabinet, as you can see, is not done. But we're getting there. It will be done soon. Good morning. This is probably my third attempt at an after video. A couple of weeks has gone by. I watched the original after video and realized that it didn't explain the differences between what I planned and what I ended up doing. You'll notice that there is no shelf on the wall. I realized that the shelf would be so deep that it would essentially take up all the space that I reclaimed. Also, the multi-cooker, which my friend Kim had offered to gift me, turned out to be deeper than the toaster oven. So instead of accepting that gift, I let her gift it on to someone else. And I bought this Breville mini oven. It's not a convection, it's not a multi-fryer, it's an oven, but it's very efficient. And I've used it already numerous times. I put the bookshelf there, as I think I mentioned in a prior video. And then I purchased this antique stool that has steps that pull out, made that curtain, and the cooktop was originally going to go to the right of the drawers, and it's ended up going right above the drawers. It does not produce enough heat to cause a problem, and I'm still able to use that top drawer. There is my drop-down dish rack, which I left the dishes on it so that you could see it still leaves plenty of counter space. Works a charm. I still love my sink, which was tiled to correct a defect, but by Derek Campbell, who Derek didn't make the defect, he did the tile to fix the defect. The builder made the defect, he cut the hole too big. There's a video about that you could watch. The propane cooktop is amazing. I don't know if you can hear the birds outside. My window is open, but they're pretty cheerful this morning. There is the through wall vent. We ended up not using the one that had the variable speed. I don't really understand how those work or why we use that one, but the person who did the project rejected the one that I had selected, which had a variable switch for reasons that I don't really understand. We had to shorten this shelf, which Sheldon made. The bottom shelf is the one that Sheldon Boat made. And it was made with scalloped edges. Let's see if I can show you. To mimic the top shelf, which my father made 50 years ago. Almost 50 years ago. So we had to shorten it a little and move it over. So they're not even with each other, but that's okay. I can live with that. I managed to get rid of that shelf, which was on the counter, by cleaning out my cupboard and moving the food that was on that shelf to my cupboard. And the coffee, the world's largest coffee making collection is there. So that's what it looks like, the finished project. And I've been enjoying it. If I changed anything at this point, it would be very small. Oh, the floor tile, apparently the tile that I ordered was not exactly the same color, although it was the same name, so I don't know. I guess they changed the coloration a little, but there's enough variation in the floor tile that I don't notice it, and I keep rugs down, so it's not that big of a deal. I'm very much enjoying the remodel. The burner is awesome. My primary criteria for the burner was, well, there were two, really. I wanted the heavy, continuous grate, because as you can see, I use cast iron, and I wanted to be able to move it across. And I also wanted the knobs situated in front where they are, so that they wouldn't take up counter space. We must have looked at, I don't know, scores of propane cooktops before picking this one. So there you have it, the finished project. And I hope you have enjoyed this rather lengthy video. And thanks for spending 30 minutes of my tiny life with me. And I will see you next time.